Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of math review. Today we're going to be looking at practice point 17, page 4, and it's going to go over fractions, specifically ordering and comparing them. So let's go ahead and get started. In the first three questions, we're just comparing them with a greater than, less than, or equal to sign. So if you remember from our last review, we talked about how the easiest way to do that is by cross multiplying. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite my fractions down below just because I don't like to do the cross multiplying with the area that I'm going to put my answer in. And remember, we're going to do the butterfly method where we draw our butterfly and its antenna, and we're going to multiply across this line, this oval that we drew to make our butterfly. So 8 times 3 is 24. I'm going to put my answer up above. And 4 times 7 is 28. This tells me that this side is larger and therefore 7/8 is a bigger fraction. I'm going to draw a greater than sign. All right, let's move on to number 2. 3/8 and 1/2. All right, we're going to draw our butterfly. And let's multiply. 8 times 1 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 8 is larger, which means 1/2 is larger. And I'm going to draw a less than sign. Number 3 says 3/8 and 7/8. Now on this one, you can absolutely cross multiply to double check your answer, but also remember what we've learned about the fact that when numbers have this, or fractions have the same denominator, the bigger numerator is going to be your bigger answer. So 3/8 compared to 7/8, well, 7 is a bigger number than 3, and these are the same, so 7 is going to win. I'll show you the proof with cross multiplying. And if you're ever stuck or confused about it, I would always use this method as a backup to double check yourself. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 3 is 24. 56 is definitely bigger than 24, so 7/8 wins. It is the larger number. Okay, we are going to order these numbers from least to greatest. So what I would always start with is I would start with numbers that have the same denominator, just like we did up here. Okay, we're actually going to use the knowledge that we have from up here to be able to help us with this answer right here. Because really cross multiplying and comparing numbers is going to help us. So we know that 3/8 is smaller than 7/8 because one, we did it right here, but also we know the rule that when denominators are the same, the smaller numerator is the smaller number. I'm going to put some space in between them though, because I may have to put some of these fractions in between. Okay. If I know that 3/8 is smaller than 7/8, now let's go ahead and take a look at our other numbers. When I look back up here, I can see that 1/2 is bigger than 3/8. So it's going to be somewhere in here. Okay. I also know that 1/2 is smaller than 7/8 because it is equivalent or the same as 4/8. Right? 1/2 and 4/8 are the same fraction. So I'm going to have that somewhere in here, probably closer to the 3/8 side. If I look at my other information that I have, I know that 7/8 is bigger than 3/4. So nothing is going to be past 7/8 and nothing is going to be below 3/8. So all I really need to do is do 3/4 and 1/2, cross multiply them to see which one's going to go first and which one's going to go second. So 2 times 3 is 6, 4 times 1 is 4. 1/2 is smaller than 3/4 because of that answer that I got. So I'm going to put 1/2 and then I'm going to put 3/4. Now I have my numbers in order from least to greatest. All right, when I need to find two equivalent fractions, I can always multiply by whatever numbers I want to. But remember with fractions that whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do the top. In my opinion, the two easiest numbers to do are 2. And remember, if I do the top, I do the bottom. What is 3 times 2? 6. What is 9 times 2? 18. I just found one equivalent fraction. There's one of my answers. Now, the other easiest number to do, in my opinion, is 10. When we multiply by 10, we really just add a 0 to the end. So 3 times 10 is 30, 9 times 10 is 90. This is an equivalent fraction to 3/9, and so is this. Now, these are not the only right answers. You could have multiplied or divided by any answer that made sense. You could multiply by 5, by 3, by 100. As long as you're multiplying the top and the bottom by the same number, you will get the right answer. Okay, let's look at our last problem. We're again finding two equivalent fractions for 1/8. So this time I'm going to do two different numbers. I'm going to do 5. I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 5. And I'm going to get 1 times 5 is 5. 8 times 5 is 40. That's one equivalent fraction. And the other number I'm going to choose is 3. So I write out 1/8. I multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. And let's see what we get. 1 times 3 is 3. 8 times 3 is 24. This is another equivalent fraction. And again, there's more than these answers for right answers, but those two will work. Thank you. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your teacher.